It's time for another Willy Wonka movie. This one is a prequel where we find out how Wonka got his start as a chocolatier. Let's talk about Wonka. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Wonka. This is in theaters right now, and it is doing quite well. In fact, I tried to take my nephews the day after Christmas, and the first four shows at the theater we go to were sold out. So obviously, people looking for a movie to watch with their family over the holiday have chosen Wonka. So we ended up going to a later show, but it was still pretty packed. And this is a musical fantasy film. And Timothée Chalamet takes over for Gene Wilder, and then later Johnny Depp. I think this probably matches more of the Gene Wilder version, but it sort of takes things from both versions of this character. But anyway, we'll get to all of this in just a second. Let me first welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day something new goes up. So always a lot to check out. Please consider subscribing, like this video, share it on your socials, and comment below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. All right, so this was directed by Paul King, whose name I was unfamiliar with, but I looked him up, and he directed the first two Paddington movies, and he wrote them as well, and he has a writing credit on the one that's coming out next year too, and he co-wrote this, Wonka, as well. So look, those Paddington movies, everybody talks about how great Paddington 2 is. It is for real. Both the Paddington movies, though, are just delightful. I'm not sure that this measures up to either of those quite as well, but this is still a pretty solid entry in the Roald Dahl, movie filmography. Roald Dahl gave us books like The BFG and James and the Giant Peach and Matilda, and of course all the Willy Wonka stuff. So this stars Timothée Chalamet, like I said, as Wonka, and I think this casting was perfect. Chalamet has had such an interesting career so far. He's still so young, but he's done the indie drama thing. He's done some comedy. He's hosted Saturday Night Live twice. He's done the big epic adventure. He's in the Dune movies. The second one of those is coming out soon. I think it was supposed to come out now, right? But because of all the strikes and everything, it got pushed back. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a Christmas release this year, but I could be wrong on that. But in any event, and now he is, doing the musical. I don't know, it's a comedy certainly, but fantasy film with Wonka, and the guy is just so super talented. But I cannot think of a better match, I think, for this character than Chalamet, because you do need somebody with that sort of wide-eyed innocence, when Wonka is as young as he is here. And somebody that can sing and dance, somebody that can certainly perform more of the comedic elements of the film, but also have a tender side. Tom Holland is the only other name really that comes to mind there, but I don't think he looks anything like either of the characters of Wonka we've seen before. You could really believe that Chalamet grows up to be the Gene Wilder Wonka. But in any event, some other people that you will know in this movie include Keegan-Michael Key as one of the cops who is on the take with the other chocolatiers in the neighborhood. You've got Sally Hawkins portraying Wonka's mother in flashback sequences, and Olivia Colman as the head of the hotel where Wonka finds himself after having no money, landing in the area, and she puts him to work right away, basically enslaving him, along with some other people that have been there for years trying to work off this fake debt that they've accrued. And of course, if you haven't seen in the commercials, Hugh Grant plays the Oompa Loompa. And that right away to me, when I saw that trailer, I thought, oh, that's cool. I'm loving this sort of Hugh Grant, second or maybe even third act of his film career. And he was so great in Paddington 2 as the villain. And so now we know that him and the director have worked together on that film. So he brought him along for this one. But essentially, Wonka is trying to make his name in chocolates. He's got, all of the magic that we know from the future movies, and he gets sort of blackballed by the chocolatier community, who charges, way too much money for their chocolates, so only the rich can afford them. And here comes this kid. Oh, he wants to sell these magic chocolates for nothing. Well, we're going to stop him. And like I said, Keegan Michael Key plays one of the cops on the take. So this movie is a lot of fun. Watching it, it actually reminds me of those Paddington movies in the sense of the joy and sort of the whimsical nature, and the magic of it. Now, this is literal magic, whereas Paddington is more just the idea of, magical elements, and watching a beautiful family movie is magic unto itself. But this, of course, has actual magic because he's Willy Wonka. But there are not a lot of movies, honestly, like this anymore in terms of a big, grand scale, family friendly musical. I mean, when I think of the recent musicals, first of all, The Color Purple's just open. That's certainly not of a family friendly nature. Even something like In the Heights, though, yeah, I mean, kids could watch it, but I think it's certainly for a little bit of an older demographic. Whereas, this really brings families together, the whimsy of all the characters and the fun colors and the cool confections that Wonka makes with his magic. And then, like I said, Chalamet, it's such perfect casting. He's just got that little twinkle in his eye. He is. I am so excited to see what kind of career he's going to have moving forward, because he's still so young and so new in the business, that I'm just delighted to see where his career is going to go. He obviously does not shy away from these big budget movies like this and Dune, but I think his heart probably also lies, with some of those indie projects. But his heart is all in on this. My big criticism of the movie is that I think maybe there's a couple of songs too many, and it sort of dragged it down, especially because the last maybe half or 45 minutes, there's almost no songs, except at the very end, we finally get the number that we've all been waiting for, Pure Imagination. But the first half or even 2/3 is really kind of song heavy. They could have excised at least one of those songs, so we could, not necessarily to even shorten the runtime. I didn't feel the length of this movie at all, but just I think to keep the story moving a little bit, and maybe for a couple of more comedic moments. Some of the bad casting choices, I can say, I didn't really care for the three confectioners. Matt Lucas was one of them, who I know from Bridesmaids, and he's been in a few other things. I'm not sure who the other ones were played by. They were not people I recognized. Let's see if I can find them. Patterson Joseph. He's like the leader of the chocolate cartel, as they're called. And then Matthew Banton, unfamiliar with him too. He had some funny moments, but overall, yeah, they were jerks and they were villains and stuff. But in a movie like this, I feel like we need maybe funnier villains a little bit. Yeah, we want to hate them, of course, but they could have maybe punched their roles up a little bit. So I'm not sure if it was necessarily the casting or the characters themselves. But look, this was a lot of fun at the movies, and it really is great to be able to take my nephews to something like this where we can all enjoy it as a family. And look, I like a lot of kids' movies too, so it's not like I don't enjoy some of the animated movies we go to, but it's really nice to be able to, and the whole auditorium, like I said, was littered with families looking for something to do. So I give Wonka a B+, and you can check this out in theaters right now. I think it's a nice companion piece to the Gene Wilder version. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.